The death toll continues to rise among the migrants who were trapped in a truck near San Antonio, Texas. 3 more people have died, bringing the total to 53. The CEO of Catholic Charities in San Antonio says that he visited with one of the survivors.
We asked her if she was from Guatemala because we have been told that there was people from Guatemala, and she actually nodded yes. So she was able to communicate, but we saw also that she was weak, so we also didn't want to bother her a lot.
9 others remain hospitalized with heat-related illnesses. It is believed to be the nation's deadliest smuggling episode at the U.S. southern border. And joining us now to discuss is Alfonso Aguilar, president of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles. Alfonso, great to see you. Let's talk more about this horrific tragedy. Your thoughts, and do you think this was preventable?
Well, first of all, it's devastating. This is perhaps the worst tragedy at the border in our history, and I do think it's preventable. I think by undoing the common sense border security measures that the Trump administration put in place, this administration, the Biden administration, is encouraged this massive movements of people. And it is this massive flows that create an environment of crime. So you have criminals taking advantage of people, trafficking children, people who are very irresponsible. Look what happened here. Apparently the driver was on meth and drugs. This is the environment that not enforcing the law creates. So I do believe that this is a responsibility, a direct responsibility of the Biden administration policies towards the border. And it's ironic because President Biden said that he wanted to create a moral and humane immigration system. This is not moral and humane. He's unleashed a humanitarian crisis. And it's not only me saying it, his presence in Central America, the president of Mexico, the president of Guatemala saying that once the president at the beginning said that the U.S. would welcome people, and once they started dismantling policies like remaining Mexico, not continuing to build the border fence along the southern border, that encouraged people, that incentivized people to make this very dangerous trek. And it doesn't matter that now they're saying, at least verbally, don't come. People see the policies and they know that they have a good chance, if they make it to the southern border, to enter illegally, or if they surrender to authorities to ask for asylum and be let in. So that's why so many people are coming. And this massive flows, as I've said, creates an environment of crime. And it's trafficking of children as well. There are studies that show that perhaps over 60% of women and girls are victims of sexual assault and rape. This is the reality of what is happening, and it's certainly not humane.
Yeah, and you mentioned that driver being high on meth. 3 people, including the driver, were arrested. Now, we don't know where that driver got the drugs, but we do know that a record number of illegal drugs are coming over the southern border, in particular fentanyl, which is deadly. Let's talk about that and the dangers of it.
Well, and Governor Abbott of Texas has been very vocal about this. We have a fentanyl crisis in the country that's taking lives throughout the U.S. The bulk of it is coming through the southern border. When you have the border, first of all, you don't have physical barriers anymore, right? They think that that's inhumane. Well, it dissuaded people from making this dangerous trek. But we also have, instead of having the border patrol officials monitoring the border, ensuring that they detain people, enforcing the law, now we have them processing people, receiving people, processing them, and then letting them into the country, because that's the policy of this administration. We don't have the manpower focused on enforcing the law. That's why this is happening. So people are able to enter illegally. It's easier to traffic drugs, fentanyl, through the southern border, and it's a very dangerous situation. It creates a humanitarian situation for the migrants themselves who are coming here, but also for Americans, because drugs are coming in like fentanyl, and we have this terrible health crisis. This is a dereliction of duty. They're not enforcing the law. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They do have a mandate, a legal mandate, and they're just being totally irresponsible.
Yeah, we have about a minute left or so, but I want to talk about this, and you brought up Remain in Mexico. The Supreme Court is about ready to issue the ruling on that. What do you expect will come out of that, and what would you like to see happen ultimately?
Well, remaining in Mexico is an essential measure to deal with all these people that are coming here to seek asylum. We know there is asylum abuse. The majority of people asking for asylum do not have a legitimate claim to asylum. So remaining in Mexico is important because it told people, if you're going to ask for asylum, you're going to have to wait in Mexico while the case is being adjudicated. And that served to dissuade a lot of people not to make the trip because they don't want to wait in Mexico. They want to enter the United States. So it certainly helped to dissuade people from making the trip. I believe that the Supreme Court could very well validate the policy. The Biden administration didn't follow the APA, the Administrative Procedures Act. This is an essential part of our policy to dissuade people from making it to the border. Not the only solution, but in coordination, in conjunction with other policies, it certainly helped dissuade people from making the trip to the southern border. Remember that Trump administration was able to achieve operational control of the border. They had a surge of migrants in 2019. They put these measures in place. In collaboration with the government of Mexico, they were able to control the border. That's what we need right now, and hopefully the remaining Mexico will be validated.
Yeah, such a huge issue. I wish we had more time, but Alfonso, thank you so much for coming on. I always appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.